Hello and welcome to Brick Tip number 47 design video. If you watched to the end of that video, you saw this just explode like an egg. I know why it happened. It actually failed where I thought it was going to fail, and I'm going to give you a couple little pointers of what to do to prevent that from happening again. Before I do that, I'm going to take off the roof section and show you what the little modifications I made to get it so that we have this nice ridge here where there is very little gappage. So let's take the roof off. When I put the brackets along the truss, if I had done it flat and just put straight flat plates up here, it was leaving a big gap in the middle, and it was just a simple modification of adding a plate width on top of those brackets on both sides, and then they just set in perfectly. So I was really pleased at how easy that was to get those to come together, and then that allowed me room to run these plates so that it connected these brackets up to those brackets. Now this roof is not the most stable. I mean, that section is really twisty, but again, it's just 2x construction really, so it's not going to be stable just by the way it's built. What you will want to do is run a couple more trusses if you want this roof to really strengthen up a bit. And along the ridge line, I ran a double plate here, and I ran a double plate on the other side, and that's what gives the roof a lot of strength. I mean, that before it exploded, the roof took a lot of stress. I didn't measure how much I was pushing, but I put my full weight behind that before it went. So that was a lot of pressure. But what is happening here is that plate and that plate are lining up, and as you push down, they're trying to push against each other, and they want to splay the roof out. And then this is all holding that roof in place, and believe it or not, none of those hinges snapped. That was not where it failed, which tells me that this roof could be made much stronger than that. I would guarantee if I solidified the few spots that it failed in, I really could probably put at least half of my weight on this. So I'll show you where it failed now since I have it open. It wasn't the roof. It wasn't the trusses. What it was when the roof pushed out, I was putting so much pressure down, the forces were not only going this way, which is the way they needed to go, they were also pushing out this way. And you can see that way, it's not stable. It really will move out. So the plates didn't hold it strong enough, and it started to move out. So when it did that, these hinges here behind were not locked in place. And I had done that for no particular reason. I didn't even think about locking those hinges in place because I wasn't expecting to put that much pressure on it, to be honest. If I had locked that all interlocked in place, and I had added those trusses and tried to lock this wall into the roof, there was no way that was going to budge. That was taking a whole lot of force. So once that wall gave loose, you can see it just popped out. And that did the same thing. That popped out, and then this wall popped out. And then it just shattered. That's why it just split like it did. That's how you're going to fix that, is to reinforce those as even a plate, I think, would have done. A plate thickness here probably would have made that so it didn't happen. So again, an experiment, and to be honest, that was a really successful stress test because I could see exactly where the flaws are. Now getting this roof on, I made sure to interlock the plates so that they actually, I went 2x on the top rail, And we'll just pull this right off, maybe. See how that didn't even want to move. So we have our front plate that connects right to that post, and then this hinge here is connected onto another 2x plate underneath. So this ridge, I mean, it moves. You can see, I would hope it moved after all that. It's still not exactly tight there. So it's got a little give, but not very much at all, and you would expect something with those hinges that it would have a little bit of give. Our brackets are lined up like that. They're on the same plane as the hinges. And then we put our back plate on. And what that did would give us the exact spacing that we had to the outside of the frame. If you remember, I mentioned the frame to the outside of the plate that was attached to the hinge. So this one here, that was 28 in this direction. So when I lined up the brackets, I made sure that they lined up with this plate on the outsides, so that when I constructed the roof, it was the exact dimensions of the floor. Now the next stage with the roof is to go and try to lock all this in. I don't even think I'm going to bother with the other trusses. I don't think there's a reason. But if you do want to do that, I will try to figure out a way to get those trusses locked in on these supports, because it's going to be a different connection. It's not going to be the same as on the ends where it was just simply lining up the plates. You're going to have to go in a different direction, which I would suspect is going to be either brackets or hinges to do that. To lock in this part of the top plate to your roof, you're going to probably use some pivot bricks. So I'm going to give that a go next. But yeah, I think that is a great success. And tomorrow I hope to start in on the windows and doors. I was going to do that, but of course we need a roof before we did our windows and doors. Hopefully you found this interesting and you learned something. If you have, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and share it around so that others can learn from it. You can join in the conversation on Facebook and our other social feeds, and we would really appreciate it if you would consider supporting us through Patreon. Thanks so much. Have a fantastic day. Keep dreaming in bricks. Bye-bye.